Right, hi guys, welcome back to the third episode in the 10 steps, what is it called? 10 steps to beginners or something? 10 step beginner's guide to HMO.
10 steps beginner's guide. Hold on, I've got an HMO.
Right, hi guys, welcome back to the third episode in our 10 step beginner's guide to HMOs, and today I'm getting Alicia on to talk about how to analyse your HMO deal. So she's going to go through our little spreadsheet that we got from the guys at Pegasus Property when they were both together. I think Nick and John have now separated, but they had a great little spreadsheet. So it was very similar to ours, but I felt theirs worked better, so we pinched it from them.
No point in reinventing the wheel.
Yeah. So Alicia's going to talk you through how we analyse HMO deals.
Okay, so this spreadsheet is in three sections really. So the first one is more about the purchasing and refurbishment costs, and then the second one is about the rental income and all the bills and whatnot, and then the third one is about the refinance model. So going through the first one, so you've obviously got your purchase price, any finder's fees, design fees, that sort of thing. So you might have used a sourcer to find your property, so that those fees would go in there. We charge a finder's fee, but we also charge a design fee to design all the internal layouts, so that would go in there as well. Legal costs, that's all your solicitor's cost, searches and all that sorts of stuff. Bridging finance. So there's a section here for the bridging finance costs, because obviously bridging finance is quite expensive. To be honest, we normally do a separate spreadsheet when we're doing a bridging finance bit, because we kind of put a little bit more information on it. Stamp duty, so this doesn't calculate it on here, so you'd have to go onto a website or whatever. I mean, a really good one is stampdutycalculator.org or .com or something like that. And on there you've got the option to have your sort of main residence house, but then also if you click another tab it would say sort of second home, and that would give you your stamp duty calculation for investors. Obviously there's the extra 3% at the moment for stamp duty for investors or second homeowners, and then any HMO license fees that might then come in there. I mean, for me personally, I don't know why the HMO license fee is there, because to me it's not really part of the purchase price, but it works, it's fine, we haven't sort of changed it. And then you come down to the conversion costs. So you've got the refurb. Obviously we've done quite a few refurbishments by now, so we can kind of know more or less how much something's going to cost, but we've then got another tool as well that we use to kind of think, okay, we're going to need this much in terms of, I don't know, joinery or sanitary ware, all that kind of thing. So that then goes in there. Furniture, so you put that in there. Management fee as well, so your project management fee, obviously you've got the percentage there if you charge a percentage, or you could just put in a flat rate if that's what you put in. And then it says letting agent inventory sourcing. Again, we don't really use that, but if it was something that you use, in that section is in there too, and then that gives you your total cost at the bottom. So that total cost is everything here. So it's if you're buying it, I think it's if you're buying it cash and all that sort of stuff, because the best way to buy an HMO is either cash or bridging finance, so that's the whole cost there. Then going down here, then that would be, so after your refurbishment is done, what your room rentals would be. So for example, I mean here I haven't done it, you can do it, so you'd have, say, room 1 at $750, so you could change this to 2 rooms at $750, and then that would total 2 here, but for some reason this one has been done that it's just 11111 at all these different ones, but it's easy to change whichever you want to see clearer. And then voids, so we normally put in a void rate of, I think we normally put 1.5%, but you can put higher. Our void rate is normally around sort of 1%, sometimes lower. At the moment, obviously, we're in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, so void rates are probably going to be higher at the moment. We haven't actually calculated ours recently, but it is going to be higher. So yeah, you can normally put in, say, I don't know, 10% voids. That would be sort of conservative, probably a bit over negative, but yeah, that would be a good point to put in. And then any finance, so if you have used a mortgage to buy, then you'd put that in here. So amount you've borrowed, which would be the loan to value, and the interest rate, and then that would calculate your monthly interest payments here. Then we go down to the running costs. So you've got your council tax, service charges if you've got a leasehold property. You've got heating, electricity, water, broadband, because obviously that's important in an HMO, TV license, PAT testing and other testing. So some of these are monthly costs, and then obviously your PAT testing wouldn't necessarily be a monthly cost, but what you do is because you only have it done once a year, but what you do is calculate your annual cost and obviously divide by 12, and then you put that figure in there. Fire regs, insurance. I mean, obviously again with insurance you can either pay for it monthly or annually. If you do it annually, then just divide it by 12 and put that figure in there. Building maintenance fund. So we haven't put anything in this particular one here, but we do actually put 10% of our profits of our personal HMOs. We always put 10% away, and 10% we put 10% for 5% we put away for maintenance, and 5% we put away for we call it like our Armageddon fund. So if there was a massive recession, which could be likely at the moment, we've always put some money aside in that pot. So if you wanted to put that in your spreadsheet to calculate that, then you could. Cleaning services, garden maintenance. Again, gardening is kind of seasonal, so you would probably take your annual gardening costs, because obviously they would be heavier in the summer and less costly in the winter. But yeah, take the annual cost and divide that by 12 and put that in there. Professional fees, project management. No, that doesn't really apply to what we're doing. But management fees for the lettings. Our company obviously charges 12.5%, so that would go in there as a percentage, but obviously if you've got a letting agent that charges less or more, then you change that percentage, and then you end up with your total monthly expenditure, which then would give you your monthly cash flow, your cash flow per annum, and your return on investment. So this would be of the first mortgage or first finance method, whether it was bridging or if you'd bought it cash, that sort of thing. So that would then all be worked out here. So then what you're hoping is that you'd then be refinancing your project once you've done the refurb, and it obviously is worth more. So you then come over to this refinance model here. So you put the revalue model in, whatever you thought it was going to be valued up to. Your new mortgage, so you put in the percentage loan to value here, so that would then take it from that. It would give you your capital left in the deal and how much capital would then be released, taking from all these figures here and these ones up here. So this is your, sorry, just jumping around, this is your initial purchase capital required. So this tells you exactly what you need to initially buy the property. So bearing in mind that's how much you've put in, this figure is then how much of that figure you then would pull out, if that makes sense. So working out all of that, you'd then say what your interest rate for your new mortgage would be. So in this case we've put 4%. I think they're actually lower at the moment. I think you're more likely to get it at 3.75%. And that would give us our monthly interest payment here, to then take off all of these figures, all the gross rent and all of the other expenses. So you'd end up with your revised monthly profit and loss. So that was obviously, if it's in green, it would be a profit. And your cash flow per annum, which then would give an ROI in this case. I mean, these are literally just plucked figures at the moment. 27.54. I mean, that would be a great return. I don't think we really get that anymore where we are, because house prices jumped a couple of years ago. If you look at yields and things like that, it also gives you your yield and your net yield and your payback time over however many months, and your debt coverage ratio. So that's the tool that we use. We always do a best case scenario, a realistic scenario, and a worst case scenario. Obviously, we in our business, we always expect the best but plan for the worst. So we always look at, could we push the rents? Is there any way we could get the project costs, the refurbishment costs down? Them sorts of things. So we don't tamper with it too much, because if you are over optimistic with the refurb costs and also over optimistic with the room rentals, then you've got a massive sort of double whammy of over positivity. But likewise with the worst, so you kind of have to, you might be able to get conversion costs lower than what you've put on here, but for the sake of this, to give a realistic 3-case scenario, we tend to just kind of tweak it a tiny bit. So then from that we would then go to, if we were working with a client, we would then go to a client with the realistic, but we'd also say, but it could come down to this sort of figure. So, you could end up, I haven't checked these, but it could end up that you've got a gross yield of 10.2%, and obviously the best case scenario would be 27.54%, whereas realistically you're looking at, well, something's gone wrong here because that's 138%, so that's, something's amiss here. But we would go to the client with those three. You tend to find people look at the best case scenario and then that's what they are kind of hoping for and things, but you have to set expectations that actually you're more looking towards your realistic figures. So that's pretty much all we do at this stage to analyse the deal. Obviously the next stage would then be scrutinising the refurb costs more, potentially getting a builder in to have a look if we needed a second opinion on something, and then tweaking this and see whether it still fits. But there's enough contingency in these figures to then to know that you are not going to look at it through rose-tinted glasses, because like I said, you've got the void rates, you've got the refurb costs that you can add a contingency in as well if you wanted to add. Sometimes we put an extra 15% in as a contingency, just to make sure that if something came up when you were starting the refurb, that you weren't going to blow your budget because of something unexpected. So that's pretty much what we do here. If you've got any questions, then let me know and I will do my best to answer them. But thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Bye.